Specifically, in the past 5 years, we have had about 30 small businesses come to us and use us as their fractional HR partner. That's not as a consultant who comes in, makes some recommendations, and then leaves. Actually, we are inside owning the people function while they scale. And across those 30 businesses, one pattern shows up consistently. We throw people at all of our problems. We think every issue is solved with another hire. And so today, I'm going to tell you what a reactive hire actually costs. I'm going to share the 4 questions I ask clients before we post a job. Number 2 is my favorite. And I'm going to tell you why I do not subscribe to the mantra of hire slow and fire fast. The cost of a bad hire in a small business is not just the salary, although that can be huge, but this compounds. The first cost is time. A new hire in a role that wasn't correctly defined, filling a problem that wasn't correctly diagnosed, takes 60 to 90 days before it becomes clear that the hire isn't working. That's 60 to 90 days of onboarding investment, management attention, and organizational disruption, all spent on a hire that was solving the wrong problem. The second cost is the original problem, which is just now worse. Whatever was broken before the hire, the process, the performance issue, the accountability gap, has had 60 to 90 more days to harden. And now it has a new person embedded in it. The third cost is what I call the instability tax. Every compromised hire changes the dynamic of the team. Standards drift, high performers notice. The people who were already carrying the weight watch you bring someone in who isn't carrying their share. And they make decisions about whether they want to stay in a small business. In the small business, you cannot afford to lose a high performer to a reactive hire. That math never works in your favor. And then the fourth cost is financial. I covered payroll to revenue ratio in a previous episode, but every hire moves that number. They move that ratio. And a hire that doesn't solve the actual problem moves it in the wrong direction. And you often don't feel it until the ratio has been wrong for several months. Okay, so let's get into my questions. Before I post any job for my own company or clients, we ask ourselves the following questions. Number 1, is this a headcount problem or something else? You want to map the specific work that isn't getting done or isn't getting done well. And then you ask yourself, if you added a person, would the work get done correctly or would it get done still incorrectly, just at higher volume? If the answer is the latter, you don't have a headcount problem, you probably have a process problem. Number 2 is my favorite. If someone is overwhelmed, what exactly are they overwhelmed by? There is a difference between overwhelmed because there is genuinely more work than one person can handle, and overwhelmed because the work isn't structured. The process is broken, or they're covering responsibilities that should belong to somebody else. The first justifies a hire. The second requires a very different fix, and hiring into that makes it worse. Number 3, if output is inconsistent, where does the inconsistency live? Is it a skills gap, a training gap, an accountability gap, a process gap? Each of those has a different solution. None of them are solved by just adding another head. And then finally, number 4, what does success in this role actually look like at 30, 60, and 90 days? If you cannot answer that question before you post the job, you are not ready to hire. You have not defined what the role needs to produce, which means you cannot evaluate candidates correctly. You cannot onboard the hire correctly, and you will not know whether the hire is working until something goes visibly wrong, which could be months. This question is the one that most founders skip entirely when they're hiring under pressure. There isn't time to think through what success looks like. There's only time to get someone in the seat, and that urgency is exactly what produces the pattern I've been describing this whole time. I know this will be controversial, and that's fine, but I don't subscribe to hire slow and fire fast because I don't think time is the measurement. Thoroughness is. A hire made slowly but without a defined skills framework and clear performance outcomes is still a reactive hire. A hire made quickly but against a clear diagnostic and a defined standard is a disciplined hire, and a good one. The founders who build well don't hire slowly, they hire with clarity. They know what the role requires before they post it. They know what problem they're actually solving. They run the financial model and then they move. Only then do they move, because clarity, not slowness, is what produces quality. Speed matters in a small business. I won't deny that. The goal is not to slow down hiring if it doesn't need to be. The goal is to stop hiring as a substitute for diagnosing the actual problem. The next time you feel the pressure to post a job, run the diagnostic first. Name the specific problem you're trying to solve, then ask, is this really a headcount problem, or is it a process, performance, or accountability problem? If it's not a headcount problem, identify what it actually is and address that directly. If it is a headcount problem, define the role before you post it. What does it require? What does success look like? And what is disqualifying? Write those answers down, then post. That sequence, diagnostic, then definition, then hire, is what separates a hire that solves the problem from a hire that buries it. If you want to hear more on this topic or all small employer-related topics, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile is linked below. You can just send me a note telling me how many employees you have. I would love to connect with you. Most founders build reactively. They focus on sales, marketing, and product, and they treat people as an afterthought until the people start costing them everything. A business where every hire starts with a diagnosis, where the role is defined before the job is posted, where headcount grows because the business can hold it, not because something broke and adding a head felt like the fastest fix. That's a business that scales. Let's build that.